What if bold ink blending actually made a delicate stencil look better instead of overwhelming? Today, I'm going to show you how to use strong, vibrant color while still keeping all of that beautiful detail. Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Eggen, and welcome to my channel. I will have a link to all of the supplies I'm using today listed down below in the video description if you're interested in any of these products. The layering stencil that I'm going to use today is the Daisy Bouquet stencil. This was designed by Christina Warner. I've actually had this in my stash for quite some time, so you could say that I'm shopping my stash. But I kind of was cleaning up and organizing some things. I came across it and I really wanted to create with this. What's really kind of fun and unique about these stencils is that not only do we have a few pieces to create the image, which is going to be this beautiful daisy scene, but it's also giving you a stencil to ink blend the background. So it masks off your daisies and then you can ink blend your background. And I love when companies create those kind of stencils. For a stencil like this, it is really important to use something like a sticky mat because there are going to be some delicate areas and we really want to hold those down as best as we can. I'm using a piece of white cardstock from Concord and Ninth that is cut to 4¼ by 5½. I placed my cardstock on my 9 by 12 sticky mat. Then I placed the first layer of the stencil over the top, making sure that it overhangs all of the edges of the cardstock. And then I'm going to use my alignment guides from Altenew. This is usually for the stamp wheel, but I like to use it for my stencils. And I placed it in the corners opposite of each other. And that's really just so that each next layer of the stencil can be lined up perfectly. I knew going into this that I wanted to do some really dramatic and bold ink blending. And for me to really make that stand out, I wanted to have white flowers because I still believe in leaving a little bit of white space or some white color, I guess, in there, but I didn't want it to be stark white. So I am going around all of the edges of the petals using Pebble ink. It's going to be a little hard to see here, and it is very faint even in the finished card project. I probably could have gone in a little bit heavier handed with it. I was just a little nervous that I would make the daisies look dirty, and I didn't want them to be dirty. I just wanted them to have some shading. So I came in with the second layer of the stencil. This is going to give us the centers of the flowers. And I am using Honeycomb. I start with kind of just a light application of that color. And then I come in on one side and make that a little bit heavier handed. So it's going to have some shading to it. So it's darker and then kind of gradually fades off to a light area on the other side. And I did that for each of the centers. Now, here's where it starts getting a little bit tricky. So, these are very delicate areas, the stems. I'm using the corners of those alignment guides to help line up my stencil perfectly. And I pushed down really well, especially down at the bottom of the stencil. But I'm also going to use my hand because these do kind of like to shimmy a little bit. You could put some repositionable tape behind those delicate areas of the stencil, or you could also use some pixie spray, but I'm just going to use my hand to hold that down. The first color I'm going to come in with is lemongrass. It's a really, really bright, in your face green, and I've really kind of been drawn to it lately. And it's also great for these kind of bold backgrounds. It's going to be nice and bright. I'm also going to come in with artichoke. And this one, I kind of start down at the bottom and then just do that dark color sporadically. Another thing is I'm using these blending brushes from Pink Fresh Studio. They're really nice and fluffy. They're great for applying a light application of ink, but you do have to be a little careful you don't press too hard and get the bristles underneath those delicate areas of the stencil. Now I can start working on my dramatic background, but I will say that these honestly would look good in any colors, a light background, colored flowers, anything like that. This is just what I was feeling at the moment. I'm going to do a very bold background, but first, after I lined up my stencil, I removed the alignment guide because I had my stencil shifted kind of down further than I wanted it to be when I had started. And that top piece would have masked off the top edge of my cardstock. So I'm using the sticky mat to kind of hold that thin strip of the stencil down at the top. Now I'm going to start building up my background. I am starting with Clementine, which is going to be the lightest color out of my trio, starting that at the bottom and just carefully working my way up to Oh, maybe a little past a third of the way. I want it to kind of fade so that I have some room to blend with my other colors and have that overlap. So there's not such a harsh line. The next color I'm coming in with is Wildberry. I don't use these colors often enough together when ink blending, but by going with a light hand and using one of these really fluffy brushes, I'm able to get a really nice light application at first, and it can always come back over the top to brighten it up. But Wildberry really doesn't need any help brightening it up. I do travel down a little bit into the Clementine so I can get that soft transition. And then we're going to come into Plumberry. And I believe there may actually have been like a color combination chart that Christina did at one time. And I think these might have been some of the colors she listed. I can't remember. But this was so beautiful, so dramatic. And one of the things that I think really helps pull all of this together is the fact that I left my daisies white. And again, that's just personal preference, but I think by leaving my daisies kind of white, it really helps that background stand out a little bit more, but also my daisies stand out. So they're not getting lost in that colorful background. Once my background is done, I'm going to work on a sentiment. And I had the Sending Trio stamp and die set picked out. I knew I wanted to use that set because, for one, I love Christina's handwriting. Pretty sure one of those is her handwriting. And at first, I thought I would stamp the word sending, cut it out, and then have a smaller sentiment underneath. So, this is kind of a work in progress. And I'm going to show you the different ways or the different ideas I had, and then why I landed on what I did. The first thing I'm doing is I'm going to emboss a sentiment. And one thing I don't do often enough is heat emboss on colored cardstock. So this is the Wildberry cardstock that I prepped with an anti-static powder tool. I'm inking up my sentiment in a white pigment ink. I'll stamp it down a couple times to make sure that I can get all the letters out because it is brand new. I hadn't used it, so I needed to condition it a little bit. Then I'm going to use some gold embossing powder, and I will sprinkle that over my sentiment, tap off any excess, and then once my heat tool is nice and hot, I will come in and melt my embossing powder. Included in the coordinating die set is a die to trim out this sentiment. I love that because I'm not good with cutting my sentiments straight. So here is what some of these ideas look like. I stamped the sending, die cut it out. Wasn't really working for me. So I die cut out the scripty sending out of a matte gold cardstock, but I felt like that was getting lost a lot because it was so delicate and my background is kind of busy. So, what I ended up doing is this larger, kind of a more bold sentiment. I die cut it once from matte gold cardstock and then four times from white cardstock. I'm going to layer together two of each. So, two are stacked together, and I'll have two piles of that. And then my matte gold sending is going to go over the top of one of them. The reason I'm stacking my sentiments like this is because I die cut out the shadow layer using a pearlescent vellum. So I'm going to add my matte gold one on the top. I'm going to add the other one on the back to help build the dimension from the back and also create some separation between my sentiment and the background. And of course, we cannot forget the dot on the eye. So I did save all of those pieces and I used my pickup tool to add those. I couldn't help myself with this background. I really felt that it needed some splatters. It's gorgeous as is, but there was just something about it. I really wanted to have these white splatters in the background. And I'm using the white acrylic speckle from Hero Arts. I have it diluted with just a couple drops of water off on the side on my glass work surface. And then I splattered that onto the background. And I really think that helped kind of break things up a little bit. And it tied into the daisies a little bit more. So I'm adding my sentiment. I used some liquid glue. I placed something heavy over the top and I layered behind my strip sentiment a couple more smaller strips to also build up the dimension for that. I thought this would also be a really good time to bring in some sequins. And this is the clear quartz sequins from Gina K Designs. They're just a nice kind of clear, shiny, solid sequins. You might also call them confetti. So I added three up on the top and three down below, kind of in that diagonal order to finish off the card design. And that is going to finish up my bold blending using the layering stencil. I love how vibrant the color can completely transform such a delicate design. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future tutorials. I share card making inspiration and techniques every week. Thank you all for joining me today. And if you liked today's video, here is another one that I think you'll enjoy.